Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Wrestle Rewind. Tonight is Wednesday, October 30th. I almost said Thursday, because that's usually the day we're all together. But
I told you, I've been off all day long.
So, as usual, it's Tommy T, Double K, A-Man, and Smokey Z, Nico behind the scenes. Today in wrestling history...
I wish they could have seen that.
So today in wrestling history, we do have a couple of birthdays. One is a day late, but we're going to go ahead and wish it anyways, and that is our very own Nico. Happy belated birthday to him.
Shall we sing it?
Yeah, we can sing it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nico. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Hey!
I'll buy my shirts, actually.
I might if I'd ever receive a picture of one and see what they look like.
So,
Put a box in the car.
we've got the second birthday that is actually today is none other than the Rated R superstar Edge.
Okay.
His birthday is today, so happy birthday to Edge.
Just put R.
Yep, that was my key for me to remember.
Truth.
So
I was thinking true.
we're going to kick off today's segment with WWE. We had talked last week about kicking the show off with who won the ratings wars each week. However, WWE has kind of consumed the news world for wrestling over the past few days, so that's why I figured we'd kick it off with them. And we'll go ahead and kick it straight off with one of the two hottest topics in WWE right now, and that was Jordan Myles' comments recently. And one of the things that I just want to talk about is I'm not African American, I'm not black. I don't have an opinion on the racism part of it because I'm not really in a position to make an opinion on that. If someone feels that it's offensive or feels that it was racism, and if you take the context of the shirt and think about some of what it was portraying, then I get it 100%. Mm-hmm. Talking to folks that feel that the shirt is offensive, I understand it. I've talked with our own Nico to get his side of it. But really what I want to talk about here is I'm going to talk briefly about WWE's response to the statement and also the responses from some of his fellow performers. Titus O'Neil being one of them, Booker T being another one, and even Big E has had something to say. And to wrap it all up, basically what we've gotten from Titus O'Neil, he basically went on to say that... First of all, do your research and get your facts straight before you tag people in a message. Mm-hmm. And then Booker T went on to say that there's been no shirt in all of his time in WWE or WCW that was ever designed without his input and approval.
Right.
So once it was released, when WWE released their statement that he approved the design of the shirt, he took down most of his tweets. And then turned around and said, well, he thought it was going to be on a white shirt. So, again, I don't have an argument on the racism side of things. But what I am confused about is we live in an era where social media is very prevalent in everything we do. But I think for me, the bigger concern is how you handled it. Mm-hmm. So instead of, and I don't know if he actually filed a formal grievance with the company at all, or if he just went straight to social media to broadcast it. So, because the right thing to do would have been to go to WWE and say, hey, I got a problem with this.
I got a question.
Yeah, exactly. And that may have happened, but I feel like if it would have happened, the shirt would have never made it out for sale. To WWE's point, the moment that they received feedback on it, they took the shirt down and not a single one of them was sold. So, I guess the question I want to ask is, how do we think that this situation impacts the career of Jordan Myles and his future in wrestling?
I think his future in wrestling will be okay because that's broad.
Sure.
So I think his future in wrestling will be okay. I can't see his future in WWE, no matter NXT, no matter Raw, no matter SmackDown. I can't see his future there being very bright. Solely because of the way he went about handling it. Not because of what his issues were, not because of what the issues are. I think it's 100% purely based on the way that he went. Based on the way that we have only seen that he went about handling it. Like you said, we don't know.
We don't know the details.
Right. We don't know that he didn't try to speak to somebody behind the scenes and get blown off.
But we've also seen superstars that have rants like that on social media that don't end up very well.
Right. And like I said, we have no way of knowing before the social media rants began. We don't know what went on.
We have no idea.
Maybe, there's every possibility that he sat down with Vince, Triple H, or whoever and voiced these very same concerns. Hey guys, this this shirt design brings on a negative connotation. It doesn't look good. I don't like it.
Yep.
And we don't know that he didn't do that, and then it got looked over or pushed to the side. So then he needed to take more drastic measures to be heard. And if that's the case, then you know what? He had to do what he had to do. But we don't really know. So all we know is what we see. And it looks like he could not have handled it any worse. And I don't think that his time in WWE is going to be lengthy from here on out. And I don't think it's going to be a fun ride until it's over.
Right.
Well, and I also, so there's a whole other part to this too that people don't think about, and because it's often not pursued. But there's also legal ramifications here. So if he says that WWE did A, B, and C, and he knows that's not true, well, if you just said it, that would be slander. But if you typed it, then it's libel. So it's still a legal problem for him. Not that I think WWE would ever go to those lengths to pursue it. But that doesn't change the fact that, like, people have to understand, if you make a tweet, I don't care if you delete it 5 minutes from now, somebody's got a screenshot of it somewhere. And the moment that happens, your ideas of thinking that that's ever going to go away are very naive. Because they're not. They're not going to go anywhere.
No.
That's always, and no matter where he goes, unfortunately, this is going to follow him. So, I get it. I wish him nothing but the best. I think for me, it's the same thing that we've seen in other sports where you pick the wrong platform to make a public statement when it's not your time that's being paid for. It's and I said the same thing about football. I don't have an issue with people protesting, but I have an issue with you doing it when I'm essentially paying to watch you do something else. So, now, again, I agree with you that he may have talked to Triple H. He may have talked to Vince.
And that's what I'm
nowhere
saying.
With it. And if that's the case, then I support what he did 100%.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Those are things right there that we won't know.
No. And as well, we shouldn't.
We don't need to know.
That's kept behind the scenes with the business, and that's the way it should be.
I think once it came out and once, these outbursts, I guess you could call them, rants, outbursts, tweets, whatever you want to call it. I think once they started, I personally, obviously from a professional standpoint, he crossed the line early on. If the behind the scenes things never happened and he just went straight to it, but I think there was other stuff too, where other people's names got brought. Well, that's where I'm going. That's ultimately where I feel a bigger line was crossed. Because it wasn't that he just brought other people into it. He brought other people into it with name calling. I'm not going to go into what he said. But, he brought other people into it with name calling, not even in the same company. Like, he's calling guys out from Ring of Honor. He's calling guys out everywhere. And I think that was one of the bigger things when Titus released his statement, kind of... Well, Titus touched on that.
I feel like Titus's response was in a direct correlation to his comment about the Ring of Honor star. I can see his face. Jay Lethal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Titus's comment was probably directly to that.
Well,
because of, I mean, there's some confusion that I think that Albert needs to ask himself, and Albert's his real name, Jordan Myles' real name.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's, when these guys decide to take a platform that they have on a public venue and make a statement, there's just so many I's that you have to dot and T's that you have to cross before you do that. Because just like we're talking about here, we don't know all the stuff that went on behind the scenes. So for him to turn around and make a statement about another athlete or another performer, he doesn't know everything that went on behind the scenes to make that segment or that production turn out the way it was.
Right.
Not necessarily. He might not. But you better make sure that you've got your facts straight before you make... I mean, it's one thing to slip up and say something that, you didn't mean to say, but to come out with a very pointed statement and make a statement as if everything you're saying is 100% truth.
Well, and he doubled down. When people have, offered any sort of rebuttal, we'll use Titus or Booker T, he doubles down.
Yeah.
Like, he's not backpedaling. So it is as if what he's saying, he full on 100% believes it to be true. Which, I will say this. I'll say this. If you're going to come out with all this and this is the way you're going to go, then go. You don't have room anymore to backpedal.
No.
And you don't have room to say, wait, that's not what I meant. Because what you have already put out there and what you have already offered is extremely strong worded.
And it's on a very sensitive subject.
And it is on an extremely sensitive subject, so he no longer has room to backpedal.
No.
Like, you can't take it back now.
It seems like...
You can take the tweets down, but that didn't...
But you can't take it back. You can take them down, but you can't pretend like you didn't say it.
So...
It seems like social media now is just becoming more of a problem for any athlete, not just superstars.
But if you want to go that route, it doesn't have to be.
No. And, I mean, it's their own.
Nobody's making them to say it.
No, but it's giving them a media platform to speak directly, which is not a bad thing for them to be able to speak directly.
No, it's not a bad
to the fans, but it's being used in a negative way.
You look like 4 or 5 times you had something to say.
Yeah, like you've been on the edge of your seat, ready to say something. So, what you got?
Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be back.
I see you went with the black hat too.
I did.
Nice.
I did. Thought it was pretty smash mouth.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Had to go with it. But I think I have 2 quick inputs. So the whole thing where he thought it was going to be on a white shirt. My issue with that is the majority of WWE shirts nowadays are customizable and you can pretty much change them to anything you want.
Mm-hmm. Booker T even spoke to that.
So, did he?
Well, he spoke to the fact that 90% of the shirts that are available are black.
And that was my other thing. So, like, even if the main one was white, you can order a black version of it.
Yeah.
So, or in any color. So, that would have been my thing. Like, why... even if it's just on a white shirt, like, the whole...
It's the same design.
Right. It doesn't really change much of it. And then just the blatant calling out of certain individuals who are in active storylines this week is interesting. Like, I guess for me, I would be curious to find out, like, why that was brought up. Like, can I just say, like, Hulk Hogan, like, when he addressed Hulk Hogan, like, why... I'm not gonna, like, even pretend to imagine, like, or put myself in that situation, but I just feel like his shirt and the Hulk Hogan thing, like, is maybe 2 different animals. And I could be completely wrong, but, like, why would you want to, like, just keep digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and, like, addressing, like, other things, unless now he just thought maybe this was his opportunity to, and it's just been built up for so long, which, again, I could totally understand. I'm just, like, it's just interesting the route that he took to address all this.
So I think some of that is just oppression of people. Mm-hmm. And so when folks feel like there's a constant oppression that prevents them from elevating or escalating to what they believe they're possible of performing to a level at, I think what you run into is as humans, we can all only take so much. Yeah. And so this might have just been the icing on the cake for him to say, "All right, I'm done with this, and I've got a problem with these."
Yeah, things like Hulk Hogan.
And
he just started pulling in.
Yeah,
right.
So like he's just venting now, which is fine. Like if that's the route you want to go, that's fine.
Right.
And then I mean, I'm not going to be the person that's ever going to sit in this room in front of anybody and say that there's a right or wrong answer to the Hulk Hogan situation. Right. I don't think that there is. There's no group of people that you're going to find are going to unanimously agree on that subject regardless. You could do, and I think that's any time you bring any of these sensitive subjects into a conversation, it's very unlikely that you're going to find an entire group of people that are all going to have the same mentality. They might all agree that something is one way or another, that something is either racist or not racist. They might all agree on that, but how to handle it and how to deal with it, if you've got 50 people in a room, you're going to have 50 different ways.
Right.
Of how to handle it, because we're all different and we have different levels of understanding and different ways we process information and how we handle grief and how we handle, just every anger and every emotion. I mean, we're all different people. Right. I just think that there's a lot. He's clearly got some anger and some frustration, clearly. So, we'll see.
I mean, down to it, it's all about his opinion on.
Yeah.
And if you're going to sit there and try to convince everybody else to have the same opinion you have, it's not going to work. Everybody has their own different opinions about all sorts of things.
It's just so unfortunate now because it's not like it was even like a rumor or something that we may or may not have heard from backstage. Like he literally posted it himself. So it's just unfortunate now that it's literally out there forever.
Well, yeah, and like we said, it does not. We live in an era where once that stuff goes public,
you're done.
It's
well, not done, but you're.
I mean, so it's not even remotely the same. But you look at the peak that Hogan was at, and then when his whole stuff went public, I mean, he crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crashed.
And you know what?
He was suspended from the Hall of Fame. I mean, he lost everything he ever had. He sued the company and got all of it back. And
then some, yeah. But even though...
He actually put Gawker out of business.
Uh-huh.
So...
But, even though he's back in WWE, he's back in the Hall of Fame, he's back on TV and all these things, what we're saying is once it's out there, it's out there. It never will go away. If you listen to the crowd, all right, let's take away all the people. I mean, it's still there.
Oh, yeah. You can hear it when you come out.
He has not been 100% completely, totally, and fully accepted back by the universe. Clearly not a lot of the superstars, which it's all understandable. I get it. But, I mean, it doesn't. It's not. It will never go away.
No, and I think these guys also have to understand that they're in a very unique position where they can do some of these things and not suffer the same retaliation.
Right.
As someone else would. I mean, it was in 2009 when the Supreme Court ruled that if you post something on Facebook about your company and they fire you for it, they're allowed to do that. It's a public domain.
I don't know that they're going to fire him.
Well, no, I don't. Well, quite frankly, I don't think they could.
No, I don't think that's the right move. I don't think that's the right move at all. Yeah. That would be...
Now, does this significantly impact his ability to get time in the ring?
Absolutely.
Probably.
And that's what I meant earlier by...
Which he already wasn't getting used that much. Right. So
I don't think his time there will be lengthy. I think whatever his contract is now is what it will be. Now, what we haven't said, though, I don't think they'll fire him. Nope. I don't think they'll, use him a lot. I think he will go ask for his release, and it will be granted.
So I'm so glad that you just said that, because as we were talking through this segment, I'm thinking here to myself, if you're that dissatisfied, why would you not just ask for your release?
Exactly.
Right.
That's
my thing. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, but that's my thing. Like, if this happened, let's say a month ago, he saw the first logo. Assume maybe it'll be on a white shirt. Even if it was on a white shirt and it was still that bothersome to him, hold your ground. Like, say it right then and there. And if you're talking to someone saying, oh, well, Triple H approved this, or Triple H is aware of it, and Triple H wants this, then go to Triple H. Like, if you can't go to Triple H over a T-shirt, how are you going to go to Triple H over your career? Yeah. And, like, on-screen things. Like, if something as minimal as a T-shirt, you can voice your opinion over it, and if it's that big of a deal, which it should be, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fight for that. So, and if that was that serious, you should have been like, this isn't a good fit.
Yeah, I feel like that whole situation has been underexplained.
Yeah.
It's been underexplained. I feel like that right there is probably is where the real answer lies. Is when did you voice your opinion? Mm-hmm. When did you voice your concern? You said when, but I mean, there had to be more.
Well, if you look at, I gave you guys one of his comments where he talked to a gentleman who's in the merchandise division, mm-hmm. Baker Landon, said, Baker Landon lied to my face. He said Triple H wanted this design, mm-hmm. so my hands were tied. I spoke with Triple H in person, and his impression was I approved. So what this is telling me, if I read this just as Jordan Myles posted it, and you follow it in line with the sequence of events,
mm-hmm.
so your issue really is with this guy, Baker Landon,
right?
Who told you that Triple H wanted the design. When Triple H talked to you, you told Triple H that you didn't approve of it, and they pulled the shirt so that none of them were ever sold. So what's the deal? Like, where, if your issue, because what I'm hearing is your issue is really with this guy or girl, Baker Landon.
Right.
That's where it seems like your issue is. Because you're saying Baker lied to you, told you it was Triple H's design, but when you talked to Hunter, Hunter said, no, I was under the impression you approved the design.
Sounds like miscommunication. And
right.
It was taken care of.
It was handled. And if you work in any corporation in this country, I promise you things like this, maybe not to this level, but they happen every single day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where one person tells you something, and then when you do your follow-up, you find out that what that person told you isn't true.
Yeah.
So that happens every single day.
Yes, it does.
So anyways, I think that's going to wrap up our conversation on the Jordan Myles incident. Jordan Myles, my message to you is that whatever you want to stand for, buddy, just make sure it's known. But right now, I think you're causing some confusion about what you stand for. So, pick something, stick with it, and be true to it. And that's what I would tell anybody. If you've got something you're going to fight for, then just be true to it. So, other than that, thoughts from Monday Night Raw? Anything from the group on Raw?
I'm having a hard time right now. I think this is what I was saying right before.
Programming is just so confusing.
It's so confusing right now. I'm having a hard time getting into it. I watch it. I'm just having a hard time being enthusiastic about it right now because I think we will have a better product on both sides once Crown Jewel is done.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so I feel like I'm doing what WWE is doing right now, and I'm just trying to get to Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
And once I get there, I feel like we're going to have a fresh start the very next day.
Probably.
That's my thoughts. That's my opinions right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just here lately. It's been tough trying to get excited to watch it.
I'm just confused about a lot of it. I'm not sure, there's storylines, there's not storylines, there's things that make sense, there's things that don't make sense, there's just, I think they're throwing so much. But I'm also going to tell you that I found myself expecting Monday Night Raw to be the Monday Night Raw.
No, it's not.
And it's not anymore.
Nope.
And I'm having a hard time adjusting to the fact that the excitement and energy that we used to get on Raw has now been shifted. And it's on Smackdown. So Smackdown, just everything that they've done with it so far, it's just a more exciting show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the A show now.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit last week, A-Man, when you weren't here, that it has been pretty much made aware that Vince has very little. He has all say-so in creative, but he has very little say-so as to who's on what program. because apparently the executives from Fox are driving most of what goes on SmackDown. Their mentality is that that's what happens when you invest $1.6 billion in a product. So
I mean, that's fair.
They're driving a lot of what's going on SmackDown.
So you would think Raw would be a better show?
You would think, but we as fans have not adjusted to that.
I'm not even saying Raw is bad. It's not great. It's okay.
But
it's definitely
not what it's
dropped down a notch.
Yeah. So for us,
it's a B+.
We look for certain people to coincide with excitement and big events. We do as fans. That's what we do.
That's the
So right. So we don't get those folks on Raw anymore. So some of that genuine excitement that would come with being able to see a Roman Reigns or guys like that, you're not getting it right now.
So why do you think that is?
$1.6 billion from Fox.
No, but for Raw, like, why do you guys think Raw, besides Fox, like,
well, I still
Raw and since post WrestleMania has pretty much gone down.
Well, because I don't think they really had any real direction, and then at all. And then we have Heyman coming through.
I think they got so focused on the whole SmackDown going to Fox.
Yeah, I'm good.
That they were trying to push everything
Did
forward SmackDown wise, and now that they're finally there, they're kind of lost on where they should be on Raw.
Yeah, well, I had forgotten about Buddy Murphy versus R-Truth match this past Monday. It's little things like this that I feel like are just hurting the product right now, especially on Monday night. That match was really good.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy and R-Truth were putting on a hell of a show. And then they interrupt it with that damn 24/7 title. I mean, it was a great match. Don't interrupt. If you want to do that, do it before the match or after the match. But you had a great match between these two guys going, and you ruined it. Because, I don't know if you guys saw it, Truth and Murphy are in the middle of the match. Everything's going great. It's probably the best match on Monday night this past Monday. And then, could have been, because they didn't really get to finish it. Then here comes the 24/7 chase. They start running around the ring in circles. Truth gets out of the ring and just runs around the ring with them. And he gets back in the ring and takes a knee to the face from Buddy Murphy, and the match is over. So it's little shit like that that's just going to kill it. That was stupid. And I changed the channel.
I honestly think that the 24/7 title needs to go away.
Yeah. It single-handedly killed a great match Monday night.
It serves no other purpose other than to put a few guys on TV for 30 to 45 seconds.
And nobody's even paying attention.
Nope.
And it has zero value.
And then it changes hands so fast, you're like, okay.
I was okay with it for the first little bit there. I thought it was cool. It was funny.
When you've got Hall of Famers that are losing it behind a closed door and you can't even see the pinfall or the count, and then it's just moving back and forth between men and women, and which I'm good with, but you've completely devalued any role that it has as a championship.
Well, I don't think
they did that when Mick Foley said, first one to get their hands on it is champion.
Oh, well. It's a valid point. That might be the most pointed thing you've ever said on this show.
I mean, how can
you win trivia 1 week, and then all of a sudden you come out the next week
swinging.
Damn.
I mean, how can you have a legitimate title and leave it in the middle of the ring until, all right, go ahead, somebody pick it up. Whoever picks it up gets it.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know who's not going to do that, though?
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know? Do you know?
I do know.
I do.
UEW is not going to do stuff like that.
What's UEW? When's their shows happening?
So that would be United Elite Wrestling. And their inaugural show is next Saturday, November 9th.
Next Saturday.
Bell time 6 p.m. at the U-Turn Sports Performance Academy in Richmond, Virginia.
Whoop.
That's a mouthful.
Hey, wait, how many titles are going to be decided that night for the first time ever?
3.
3 of them. Right?
3. 3 titles to be decided.
Heavyweight, Continental, and Tag.
Yeah. So, moving on to SmackDown from last Friday, you could tell that they were clearly using that as the last SmackDown to ramp up Crown Jewel. So, thoughts, feelings on that SmackDown?
I actually didn't see that SmackDown. That's the first one I've missed in a while.
I normally see bits and pieces of it scrolling through Instagram and stuff like that.
Well, that's because you're busy every Friday night.
Right. And the only thing I've seen from that SmackDown was Brock when he attacked
Velasquez.
Ray Velasquez and Dominic.
Yeah. But that was the only
I
thing
did
saw.
see Brock F5 Rey Mysterio up against the wall.
Then, if you paid attention,
That was awesome.
Ray's foot went
Did
through
you
the
see
wall.
he just caught Ray? Literally just.
Yeah.
caught
Yeah,
him.
I had flashbacks of the time that Big Show picked Ray up on on the backboard and
Swung
literally
him.
swings him like
Yeah.
a baseball bat up against
The
it.
ring
There's
post,
no
yeah.
way they didn't hurt like hell.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
my
Sure did.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had
So-
flashbacks.
There was nothing significant about it. You can definitely tell both Raw and SmackDown this past week were used to build towards Crown Jewel.
I think they're just trying to get there.
Right.
I think one thing you can say about Raw, though, at least to me, it looks like this is going to be the show where they focus on younger talent, whereas SmackDown used to be that way in the past. After this week, not
Yeah.
necessarily the primary focus or anything
No,
that you'll
but I'm
see
with
right
you.
off the bat, but Umberto Carrillo,
Yes.
whatever his name is, he I think has a bright future.
Well,
He's-
so far
he's
they've put him in
wonderful.
with Rollins and they've put him in there with AJ.
Right, so I think
So
we
that
just
tells
have
you
to-
what they're
Rollins
thinking.
had
Yeah.
mad props when they
Yeah.
had their match.
And as long as we just got to give it time, it's just a weird rebuilding phase for them.
Well, and I think, to your point, well, really to both of you, it's a rebuilding phase, but I don't even think we've gotten there yet. I think they've just been in this holding pattern because the draft happened, but it hasn't taken effect yet. Doesn't take effect until next week.
Well, Friday.
Right. So that'll be a different... I think that's when we start to get what the new picture is going to look like.
Yeah.
Is once that goes into place and we don't have this potential swapping back and forth. Wild card rule is gone.
Well, and you've got a weird dynamic still. You've got The Fiend, who everybody knows is drafted to SmackDown. And then you got him wrestling Rollins tomorrow
For
the Universal title. So, I mean...
So
what's going to happen there? Nobody really knows.
So that is,
I looked down for 2 seconds.
Hey, we made it a half hour this time.
God,
I can't.
so,
That half hour went back quick.
that's got to be a record though for us making it that long.
We normally, so far the record was 6 minutes.
yeah.
We have
So-
more serious
Hey,
topics that
welcome back.
we've talked about
Thanks.
this week than we normally do, though. So
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, I think we're going to get a different product starting with next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it though, because the next thing on our run sheet is to talk about Crown Jewel. Does this not already tell us the answer for who's going to win tomorrow at Crown Jewel?
What do you mean?
This
What?
is-
You're not going to
as
have the
soon as-
Universal title and the WWE title on the same show.
Right?
Maybe they find a way to swap them out.
How?
I said find a way.
So
I don't know.
it's a falls count anywhere. I think we get some sort of match tomorrow night that just doesn't end, and it becomes a no contest. Rollins keeps the belt, but the Fiend doesn't lose. That's what I think we're going to get.
I mean, if that should have happened the first damn time.
I think we get a finish this time.
I don't think we do. Yes, Smokey.
So, news that Sting is going to be in that whole area that weekend. This weekend.
Well, that's Survivor Series. That's not this weekend. That's Survivor Series.
You got a little bit to wait.
But
I was going to say,
You were-
Sting come out during the match that we
A
thought.
little premature.
so
He called for the finish.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get tomorrow. I really don't. I just. So the only other thing that I could see is and I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but the only other thing I could see is Wyatt wins, takes the Universal title to Friday Night SmackDown. Velasquez beats Lesnar, takes the WWE title to Raw.
I was literally about to say the same thing because he was never drafted.
Yep, he was never drafted.
Because now I was waiting for us to get to Crown Jewel because no one is talking about what if he wins. He's going to win the championship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think that there's a huge what if there. So let's go ahead and move on to Crown Jewel, and we can continue the conversation with regards to those two matches, since that's what we were already talking about. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't think it would be that crazy, for Kane to beat Brock. I don't agree with it, but I don't think it's that far fetched.
I don't think.
The way I can kind of put this together is how they've been showing the highlights of when they fought in the UFC. How Brock Lesnar went into the UFC in 4 fights at his title match, won the title. So I can see that as in Kane coming into this, be like, look, you came into my sport, 4 fights in, you won the championship. I'm gonna beat you first fight and take your championship. Just like I did in UFC.
Well, and then you take the Universal title to SmackDown.
That could be a thing.
And then Kane gets the WWE title, shows up on Monday night, and either gets a challenge from someone, or he relinquishes
like
it.
Braun Strowman. Wait, is Braun on SmackDown?
How about Aleister Black?
You know who I think he gets, if that happens, if that's the way it goes down, you know who I think gets the shot?
Who?
Mysterio.
No. I mean,
they've done.
He sounded so disappointed.
They've done the whole.
Like, come on.
Little. If we know that they're looking
just
at.
Don't do something that damn predictable.
And not right after he beats Brock.
Right? No, come on.
At least give us some time.
Right?
Like,
and either way, I don't think Velasquez keeps it long, or Velasquez keeps it, goes to Survivor Series with it, and we get Lesnar Velasquez too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more likely.
At which point Brock will take the belt back.
Yeah.
But then you run into the issue of having the Universal and the WWE title if Bray wins both on SmackDown.
Well, I think one of those matches is going to be last. One of them. I think it's probably going to be the Fiend match.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I think we already know how that match is going to end the moment we see the finish to the Lesnar-Velasquez match. If Lesnar retains the title, then Seth is keeping his. Because he's on Monday Night Raw.
Do you think that we've had this conversation before? Maybe not necessarily on the show, or it was last year, I'm sure. So we wouldn't have done it on the show. But do you really think they're going to let major titles change hands at Crown Jewel?
Well, and that's why I think if, for whatever reason, it has to happen at some point, this is the perfect time for it to. Again, not that I want it to happen, but this situation would be perfect for it. Kane can beat Brock, then they're tied, because this obviously we all know, well, I guess maybe not, but they wouldn't be tied. But then Brock would even have more of a story going into a Survivor Series where he could win it back. So I have a weird feeling that it could happen.
I think you're right.
I think my problem with this is I have less faith in WWE to actually give us a Fiend win. I just don't have that. After what they did to him at Hell in a Cell, I have zero faith that they're going to do this right.
That the Fiend is going to be Seth?
Yeah, I think that they have to do this one right. I'm not saying that they will, and I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I'm saying they have to get it right, or the Fiend is pointless.
They got all that grief after Hell in a Cell.
But I think
the way that the match ended and how everybody was.
Don't let Vince have anything to do with it.
Right. There is nothing that Seth Rollins can do that's going to be worse than what he did in Hell in a Cell to make it believable to keep the Fiend down. There's no way that this ends well if the Fiend loses.
Well, right. I think we saw pretty much my guess is what they did on Raw is going to be how they get out of it at Crown Jewel with the whole forklift on top of Roman thing. It's going to be something to that effect where like physically the Fiend couldn't escape.
Here's where
that's going to help Seth, obviously.
Right, but here's where I think the company as a whole have backed themselves into the corner with this match, and it's the match can't stop for any reason. There has to be a finish.
Like literally saying it, yeah.
There has to be a finish.
It's
so
a false count anywhere.
Yeah.
Cannot be stopped. They've literally came out and said that.
It says it cannot be stopped.
Cannot be stopped for any reason. Mm-hmm. So that right there.
And honestly,
now you've got no wiggle room.
They really backed themselves into a corner with the rematch. Hell in a Cell sucked. You can't.
You could have just left it at that.
You didn't have to do a rematch.
Right.
The draft was
Let
perfect.
it go. Let it go.
Shows. You didn't
Let
have
it
Just
go.
pretend like it didn't happen.
You can have the Fiend still show up if the people over there want to see him. That's cool. Whatever.
The only
you didn't
way
have to do it.
Kick off a new feud over there.
The only way that you would have a legitimate reason to do this from the perspective of a fan right now is because you're taking that title to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Or Seth turns heel. Actually.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
But how would he turn heel though?
Seth turning heel, in my opinion, still wouldn't do anything.
But how does he turn heel against the Fiend?
You can't.
I think once it's not going to have the effect over there, but once he gets back over here and brags about it and heel Seth comes out on the mic, he can for sure sell that and talk it up because he's showing little glimpses here and there about not being respected.
No, you're right, but
not being cool.
But
so,
they're on two different shows, so when he comes back, he's got to let it go.
No, and he will. He'll say he did this because he's tired of not getting respected. He did whatever to the team.
So who's your face?
Huh?
Who's your face?
On
Raw.
But seeing that's the problem because now since you're holding yourself to the brand split, that's the problem.
Aleister Black.
You can maybe
Are
do
they
a
actually
Randy
giving him a
Orton.
push?
Well, I mean, they would
Maybe a
need
Randy Orton in
to.
the meantime, and then work on building AJ back up as the top, and just kind of make it like this how SmackDown was a couple years ago.
No, that would be cool.
I just have zero faith in them to be able to do this.
I think the OC is going to end up in NXT though.
Say that again?
I think the OC is going to end up in NXT.
Like all three of them, or tag team?
Possibly all three.
No, I don't see AJ going down there.
I see AJ at a point in his career
It doesn't matter where he goes.
where that's kind of where I was going. I think I see AJ at a point in his career now where to him, maybe not to everybody else, but to him, that would be something cool to do.
Yeah, I can
Because
see
that's
that.
To be down there with
hasn't been.
the younger talent, he hasn't been there.
I can see him wanting
Being able to go down there at this point and really, obviously he would have to perform and he would have to be AJ Styles, but be able to mentor some young guys.
Oh yeah, he'd be a great fit.
I think because I can see them building a Bullet Club, so to speak, in NXT. Only,
Especially with Finn saying Prince is back. So
yeah,
there's just so many ways they can go with that, but
I can kind of see that happening.
So, thoughts on Tyson Fury Strowman?
I wish I cared more about this than I do.
I know.
I don't.
Well,
think it's gonna
we've
be-
all been this way about every single one of these Saudi shows, where we're just kind of like,
Because I've learned to not expect much
Yeah.
out of this show. I feel like I think I said this to you. I'm sure probably to Nico at some point too, a year or two ago. I see these matches, or see these shows, these Saudi shows, as just cash grabs.
Right.
yeah. I mean, that's what they are.
They're just cash grabs. Because I don't think those people who are going to be in attendance live over there care if they see title change hands.
They're just looking to see the people.
They're just looking to see the people. So if they show up, they put on a decent show. It doesn't even have to be a great show. Just show up and put on a decent show. Okay, they got their money's worth. They're happy. We move on.
And they pay some of these guys a ton of money to come over there.
Yeah.
Like the Tyson Fury's payout.
What, 15 million?
Yeah, one match, $15 million.
Unreal.
See, here's my thing.
But that's not. People also have to understand that that's not WWE forking out all the money.
No.
Right.
That's the
Come on,
Saudi
yeah,
folks
yeah.
paying to get that match.
forking out the money. But I mean, what kind of match are we really going to get between Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman.
So I would have said,
Other than a boxing match, I don't think you're not.
I think it's going to be more than that, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot more than
I don't
that.
think we even get the match.
We're going to get something because, I think I sent it out.
I think the bell rings and Tyson Fury walks over, takes one swing, and Strowman's out.
No.
That's what I see.
You can't do that. You can't do that because you've already, for a few years
We
now.
have seen stranger things.
Right, but what I'm getting ready to say is, they already have shit on Strowman so many times.
Oh, yeah.
He should have at least been a one-time Universal Champion.
You can't do that to Strowman.
You cannot shit on Braun Strowman like that.
You can't. You just can't.
Can't do it.
I agree with you.
said that about a bunch of people.
Yeah, I agree with you,
what do they
but
do?
they've done it before. So
I know.
Level.
it's not.
It is.
It's
I feel like it is.
how is this?
This is not Butterbean and Bart Gunn.
No, I'm not saying it is.
You can't.
The Big Show lost to Floyd
Butterbean's not going
Mayweather.
to waddle his fat ass across the ring
Big
and
Show
knock him out.
Lost to Floyd Mayweather
Right. But still.
via a knockout.
Well, he did punch him in the face
Which
for real.
is believable if he can reach
He
it.
really did.
He really did play. He actually but
Not once, but twice.
My only point is that we have seen stranger things. We have seen WWE do dumber things.
Big Show was not one of your absolute main attractions when he lost.
I would argue the
and
point
the-
that Braun Strowman is not currently.
But he is,
But
though.
Has
he's
not
the only
been.
But he
one
is,
that
though.
have.
He is, though.
I
He's the
disagree.
only big man in WWE right now. Name
He's
another.
the only big guy, but Big Show is the only big guy too, and they did it to him.
Well,
Big
no.
Show was at a different point in his career.
Right. Big Show.
Then he was
on-
not.
He was pretty close to the tail end.
He was still at a heightened level. We were still seeing him on television regularly.
Right. That was also before health issues and things. But when you saw him on television regularly, it was in some sort of stupid spot. He had already.
The train third.
It was pretty much just a filler spot.
He had already become a comic act, a comedic act.
I'm not arguing the point that they shouldn't do it. I agree 100%. I don't think Braun Strowman is ever going to be the face of the company.
I don't say he's the face
I
of the
don't- I
company,
don't
but
think
he
he-
is the monster of your company. And if
I
you
think
destroy him,
Lesnar's your monster.
Lesnar's your beast.
So I don't see any. Yeah, beast
Seriously,
monster.
no, it's
Yeah.
different. And
I
it's
don't see
different-
any difference.
Well,
Braun
it's
Strowman
different
could
because
disappear and
they've
wouldn't mean
marketed
anything
it to
me.
be different.
Because
WWE has made it a point. There is a distinction between a monster and a beast.
Braun Strowman is the guy who would go out
You're
there.
right.
Yeah, but Braun Strowman is the guy who would go out there and flip ambulances, literally destroy offices, like anything that comes in his way. Whereas Brock is
Flips
more,
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, he's more
Scarily,
inflicting punishment
that was
directly
awesome.
on them instead
Right.
of like ambulances and crap like that.
I'm not saying that Strowman needs to be a champion going forward, but you cannot, I will say it again, you cannot shit on Strowman tomorrow this
Oh,
way.
he loses tomorrow.
No.
Yes.
I don't think there's...
I think he loses.
I think it's a no decision.
So name one other
What
time.
was that going to solve?
Name-
anything with that?
It doesn't have
One-
to solve anything. It
name
can be a
one
half-ass
other
show and be
time.
fine.
Name one other time that they've brought somebody in like this and that person didn't win.
I didn't say he's going to lose. I didn't say Fury was going to lose. There's a way that there's a no decision, and then they move on.
Yeah.
Well, I think you get another match. I don't think that this can end because of the way they've built this feud. You could not let it end in a no decision. It has to have a decision. One guy has to be better than the other. That's the whole premise that this is built off of.
And I think in order to preserve everything that you have literally spent years building and growing, whenever that victory happens, Strowman has to win it.
See, I think they squashed Strowman after making him lose to Brock 3 times in a row.
That's fine. If you lose to Brock 3 in a row, that's fine. You know what? I didn't like it. He should have won at least one. But I'm okay with that. If he loses to Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman's career is dead. He's dead.
I don't see any situation where he wins.
I don't see him.
All right, so then where do you see him going if he loses? What happens to his...
Nothing, because he's not competing against the WWE star, so it's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant, because again, this is not 1985. When it's going to happen, you're going to hear a couple people talk about it and never see it. It's going to be in your damn face on Sports Center, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's going to be all over social media. It's going to be everywhere you look. It's going to kill his career if it happens.
I I want you to understand. I'm not arguing with you on.
No, but you need to understand. I'm passionate about this.
I'm not arguing.
He's hitting it.
I'm not arguing against your point. I agree with you. I just don't see in any way this ends and Strowman doesn't lose. I just don't see that. Because you've built this in such a way, and I hope WWE surprises me. I hope they do. I have zero faith that they will, but I hope they surprise me. Because I don't think that Strowman should lose. But I don't see any avenue where he wins.
But what if we don't get the full match? What if the bell rings and then people can run out? And there's interference, and we still see him punch people and knock people out, all that good stuff, but him and Braun don't actually fight each other.
You know what? Give me Tyson Fury, Cain Velasquez, and I'm good. And then let them go.
It still wouldn't work, though, because Cain Velasquez can actually wrestle.
Well, Strowman can wrestle more than Tyson Fury.
I agree, 100%. But that's also why I don't think we
Did you see the report the day after Tyson Fury's first day in an actual wrestling ring?
Mm-mm.
He got destroyed. He got cut up. He got beat to pieces. And it didn't go well.
Well, I mean, I can believe it.
And that was only like a week or two ago.
Yeah, that's not what he does. So
he's a boxer.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why I also think that it's in a situation where you're going to get Strowman's going to come out. He's going to mouth off. Tyson Fury's going to deck him. And that's going to be it. It's going to be over.
I hope he does it before the bell.
So maybe that's...
If he does it before the bell, I'm
then
good.
we might get a situation
if
where...
it's kind of like a sucker punch kind of thing, or if they start fighting before the ref does anything.
Mm-hmm. Even if that happens, though, I think there's still a 2.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. But I still say, whatever happens, somehow, someway, if it's an actual match, the bell rings and we go, Strowman's got to win. He has to. Or his career's done. Where's he going to go?
You know what? We're going to get a chance because the picks for our No Holds Barred Wrestling group will go out tomorrow morning to defend the title. And Nico, that's your title currently, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I do have that thing.
So
I was about to say, I forgot who had
So I think Nico has that title.
Isn't that the only one you got right now?
That will...
It's not when it matters.
That's well said, sir.
Wow.
So who do we think is going to be the winner of the Battle Royal to take on AJ Styles for the United States Championship? Not everybody speak at once.
Well, never mind.
Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy. Okay.
I'm going Buddy Murphy.
I'm going Umberto.
Okay.
This soon, huh?
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be a Buddy Murphy, Andrade, somebody like that. Not somebody who we would be expecting.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know that you could say...
Cedric. Somebody of that group.
Yes, Cedric. Hey, you remember when we heard that?
Yep.
When we were sitting in the parking lot watching Smackdown that night. Because Tommy picked tickets behind everything.
We were almost behind the curtain.
Like, in our entire group, some of us were behind the curtain. I wasn't. But I think Nico and Dane were behind the curtain.
Right.
I mean, I heard Chris Jericho's music.
We were so far behind this thing, we were behind Shinsuke's strobe lights when he had them.
You done?
We were.
Hey, they'd probably save the wrestlers, though, because it probably would have flashed off his head.
It's true.
We're going to move on. I do want to... There's one more other match that I want to talk about specifically announced yesterday. The addition of Lacey Evans and Natalya coming to Saudi Arabia for a match. The very first time, and I want to emphasize this, that this is the first time in history that female wrestlers are performing in Saudi Arabia. First time in history.
See, I think that's the most important match on the card for a lot of different reasons. I'm not really excited for any match over there. I'm not super excited for any of them, but I think that's the most important match.
Amen. as the single female cast member, how does it make you feel knowing that you're going to have women competing for the first time ever in Saudi Arabia in a wrestling ring?
I mean, obviously, pretty much what Double K just said. That's the main match I'm looking forward to, and I'm so happy. And I think I'm more happy for Natalya than anything else. Because she's put in so much work and effort and time and just everything into WWE and just benefiting everyone and all the new girls who have come in. So it's just great that she's finally getting a payoff like this in every aspect of the word.
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot about Lacey Evans and how the company views her. And I'm curious as to that pick. Both of them, honestly, but more so Lacey Evans.
So I think Double K hit the nail on the head earlier. And that was if you had WWE, which basically if you follow, watch, or see Stephanie McMahon's statement of how it came to fruition, she released a statement today, and it basically was WWE. The original partnership between WWE and Saudi Arabia was to be part of a cultural change in Saudi Arabia, and so this was always part of the plan. It's just WWE moved it up. They tried it last time. They brought the women out. Saudi Arabia said no. WWE's now saying, hey, we're going to do this. So it's up to you how you respond, but we're going to do this.
And it amazes me with all the crap WWE gets for them doing and fighting for something this monumental.
This is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a little bit about it today, but it's not you hear all the negativity you hear about WWE, and then they finally do something good. And there's actually a silver lining in this partnership and this deal with them that hey, women are performing over there as they rightfully should, and it's gotten a few mentions, but no one is really celebrating it, and that's
the only thing.
Sad.
Well, the only thing that
I agree.
I think that people are holding their breath on right now is does it happen?
Right. Because they can sit there and say that it's going to happen, but
it could still get pulled.
Because once you
I think at this point it has to happen.
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
I think if you get over there in a culture who devalues women on a regular basis,
and I'm saying,
and that's the wrong word. Their religious views are very different from ours, so they don't hold women in the same position as we do.
And I'm not saying it has to happen because it has to. I'm saying, and what I mean is, if it doesn't happen, then WWE shouldn't have announced it and hyped it up as happening without getting over there and knowing for sure that it's going to.
So there's there's another way that this benefits WWE in the long run.
Because they can say they tried and
then
they entered in a 10-year agreement with Saudi Arabia. Very much controversial for the past year and a half because of political reasons and just worldly events. This could be their way to get an out.
If it doesn't happen.
They announce the match. Saudi Arabia pulls and says, absolutely not. We're not going to do this.
Well, yeah.
And then WWE says, well, you're now in breach of the agreement. So as a result, we're not coming back.
And that's kind of my point, too. You can't announce something like this and not have it happen without a
because
explanation.
I could definitely see Vince coming out and saying, okay, this isn't taking place. This is why it's not taking place. And he needs to say,
if it doesn't, it needs to be
he needs to just let it out.
Or something like a skit.
Well, I don't think they can because I think it's going to... So, here's what I would tell you. People are fickle. And so, you're absolutely right that it should be getting more attention than it does. But imagine how much attention it's going to get if WWE announces it and then Saudi Arabia doesn't let it happen.
Which it should.
Imagine how much attention it's going to get at that point. Because now you're stepping out of just the wrestling news world. You're stepping into the mainstream media of an American company announced an event, and you refuse to allow female competitors to compete.
Right.
So I hope and pray for everybody involved that this goes off exactly the way it plans. I'm very concerned about the potential backlash from the present audience at the event.
That was going to be my next point. I am so scared to see how they react. I mean, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I'm just kind of, concerned, maybe more so than anything, how they respond, and if there's any disrespect, just any... Again, I'm not saying they're going to do anything physical, but it's just how are they going to react?
Well, right, and so you think about what how different that venue already looks. So when
right, because you clearly see who's there, and like
right, and then there's couches for all the dignitaries that sit around ringside.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just a very different world than what we're used to, and that's their culture, and I appreciate that. You know,
which is fascinating to see, like
it
watching
is
wrestling and seeing like a completely.
But it's
different
so
culture.
awesome that there's people from all different cultures around the world
Yeah.
that this is one thing they can rally behind.
Exactly.
And it's the stuff like this that we don't get enough of to unite us just as human beings on the planet. That we allow so many things to divide us, but this is something that is universally loved around the world.
And which is why it's so upsetting to me that this isn't getting as much love and attention as it should. Because
I agree.
Yes, WWE probably shouldn't be in this deal to begin with, but if truly what they
we're
said
here.
going right, they did it. And truly, if what Stephanie McMahon said is what their intentions were from the beginning, or one of them, then WWE should absolutely be applauded for it. Because they can just easily have said, you know what, that's fine. We won't bring the women over. We'll do some evolution thing back in the States. Everyone will be happy. Or they know we're just not going to bring the women at all.
Yeah.
Everyone will be fine. They didn't have to do anything.
They didn't.
So
But
it's just
they did, and I hope it goes off without a hitch.
and I think it's going to be a good match too. Natalya is going to make sure it's going to be a good match, and Lacey Evans has improved a lot too.
She's getting there.
You know?
Well, and one of the things that when you were talking about earlier about the choice of Lacey Evans, if you think about the way those two ladies dress, they are by far the most conservatively dressed performers.
I don't know about Lacey Evans sometimes.
Well,
Those
more.
shorts
I mean,
and-
yeah, but think about
She's
her
more covered
versus
than
Alexa
most.
Bliss, or
I mean, half of Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss's bottom is hanging out.
I mean, you could have
But
thrown
then-
Nikki Cross out there and been fine.
You could have, yeah.
I don't think that you would have gotten a good match between. Nikki and Natalya.
No, I'm thinking purely from
Yeah.
a wardrobe perspective,
Well, they could have changed it for one night, just tweaked it a little.
and
bit.
they may
Or
and
you
they
may-
may do that.
You may see them come out dressed completely different tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like they may be in long sleeves and long pants.
When-
Right,
showing
'cause-
nothing.
Sometimes
'cause
Maddie
remember
does that
when
anyway.
Renee was out there, she had to be completely
yeah,
covered.
yeah.
Besides
she had
her
like
head.
the turtleneck,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So-
So,
like
and
how-
it could have been a situation where they rounded all the women up and said, "All right, this is what you're going to have to wear."
Who's
Who are the
in?
volunteers that
And
want
that's
to go
why
do it?
that's why I was saying Lacey is an interesting pick, and were the other ones offered and just maybe didn't want to go for
Yeah.
whatever personal reason, or just was
Well,
it always going to be
and
those two?
Just weren't
So,
feeling it. Or,
yeah.
Well, ever
Yeah.
since the political stuff started 9 months ago because of Saudi Arabia with the Jamal Khashoggi incident,
How can you say that, but you can't pronounce cat?
I can pronounce cat fine.
I just thought it's
So the Jamal Khashoggi incident
She
was
can't
what
pronounce pinky.
what's. Listen,
especially when you put golden in front
can
of
you
it.
hold at the third right before the fourth? So when
Remember the walk?
So that was when WWE started taking heat for being over there. Was because of that. So I just think that it's a very different environment for those two ladies to have the ability to go out there and do this. And I don't care what two they would have put out there. They've got more pressure on them than any male
for sure.
superstar
Yeah.
on that roster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And WWE, since those incidents, has given their talent the option as to whether or not they want to travel to Saudi Arabia. So, because they understand that for reasons, so Aleister Black, Saudi Arabia will not allow him to perform because of the religious worth of some of his tattoos. So,
And they won't allow Sammy either.
well,
right?
that's for a complete.
For
that's
his-
for a
well-
100% religious reason.
I think they should let Sammy.
that. Of course, he would say that.
I think they should run him on out there
So,
with Shinsuke. Because Shinsuke's going to be out there.
yeah. But Sami
Where's his mouthpiece going to be?
Sami Zayn will not be traveling with them. Aleister Black is not traveling with them.
Come
Kevin
on, man.
Owens is not traveling with
And
them
kudos
by
to
choice.
Ali for donating whatever his payout for this is going to be to. I don't remember the charity, but I think it's
That
a local
guy-
charity for his.
that guy-
He's just a
He's
genuinely
just-
good guy.
He's just, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you know this is going to be a decent payout, and to just donate
Yeah.
whatever that is to whatever. It's
Speaking of
foundation.
payouts,
To anything.
Yeah.
other than your own account.
Anybody
Right.
see the video that folks were all talking about their payouts, and that John Cena in the middle of a workout
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
recorded a video, and he's donating $500,000 directly to the first responders that are fighting the wildfires in California.
Really?
Yeah. So as everybody was talking about like
Wow.
donating money and of payouts, he literally stopped in the middle of a workout and took a video and posted it on his Instagram saying he was going to give $500,000 directly to the first responders
Aw.
fighting the wildfires. I don't care what anybody ever says. John Cena is the most generous WWE superstar in the history of the company.
That's fair.
For everything he has done for the
I'll give you
Make-A-Wish
that.
Foundation, everything that he has done for charitable organizations, continues to do for charitable
Mm-hmm.
organizations, gets paid out for stuff and then turns around and donates it right back to whatever the cause was that the venue was supporting. I mean, the
And
guy...
he doesn't stop.
No.
No, he
and-
just keeps going.
And
Yeah.
somebody directly asked him the other day when he was going to retire from WWE, and you know what his response was?
He's never.
He never will.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll never retire."
And he's never turned his back on
No.
WWE. He's taken time away as he rightfully and
He
deservedly
deserves.
should. Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
people have to understand, like, you can call The Rock a part-timer all you want. You can call Lesnar a part-timer all you want. You can call John Cena a part-timer all you want. Here's the problem. You know how you always talk about when these guys come back and they steal all the TV time? Well, guess what would be happening if they were there all the time? They would still be stealing
They'd
all
still
the
be
TV
stealing
time.
all the TV time.
Right.
Well,
So-
people are starting to find that out now with Lesnar because he's around
Yeah.
all the time now.
So, well, I mean, we kind of we talked about how we thought that was going to be the case after he officially called Dana White and said, "Hey,
I'm out.
I'm done. I'm not going to fight anymore."
The only difference there is everything with Lesnar happens so quick. It's not a lot. He doesn't gobble up a lot of time.
No, because he comes in, does his thing, and goes.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a whole lot of time.
No.
No.
But you talk about but people have to understand that if John Cena was still on and showing up on TV every week, he'd be in the limelight
and there'd
every
be the
single
same
week.
people complaining.
And they
were
would
on the show.
complain.
Yeah.
They
But
go,
he-
oh, we got to
Well,
see
we
him
gotta watch
every week.
John Cena again. Oh, well, John Cena's a part-timer. Well, right. But guess what? The crowd still pops for John Cena when he comes through the crowd. He comes through the curtain. They still pop for... Lesnar's entrance is the most interesting entrance of anybody's because his music hits, the crowd pops, and then it goes to a boo.
Yeah. But if you think about it, it used to do that for. It still actually sometimes does that for Roman.
Yeah. Well, Roman...
It's like they're like, oh, wait a minute, everybody else
Yeah.
is booing.
I mean, I go back to the Hell in a Cell match that Lesnar came back down and kicked the door in, which was one of the coolest Hell in a Cell spots ever when he would just kick the shit out of that door. And then that match, so think about it. You talk about Strowman being one of your top guys. You had Strowman, Roman, Hell in a Cell. Brock kicks the door in, and what do the fans start chanting? You guys remember?
Holy
Thank you, Lesnar.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, as much as people complained about him, they knew Roman was going to beat Strowman. So the fact that the fact that Lesnar came out, the crowd pops when Lesnar comes out. Then they start booing him, and then you start chanting, "Thank you, Lesnar."
What type of fans did I say last week were the most fickle fans on the planet?
Wrestling fans.
Wrestling fans. We are. And it's not a they are. We are
yeah.
the most fickle fans on the face of the earth.
There's no pleasing us
No.
because
We
as
can
soon
sit down and watch
as soon as you give us what we want,
We don't
we're
want
going to tell you it wasn't the way we wanted it.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. So
we can sit there and boo somebody watching them on TV, but we actually go to a show, we're cheering them on.
yeah,
Absolutely.
well, because it's cool to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I hate you, but yeah!
do I think?
Oh, I came out of my seat at Mania for Lesnar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I
We
mean,
all did.
when we saw Paul, waddling down to the ring, it was like, oh shit, here it comes, here it comes.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
knew.
I wasn't smacking Nico at that point.
No, you were smacking me.
I was smacking you. Well, Nico was still recuperating.
He was half dead.
He was still half dead.
He was still holding his breath, trying to get his chest to pop back out.
Yeah.
I was at WrestleMania.
Yeah. You showed up after the Lesnar Rollins match.
So I think that's going to wrap up our WWE conversation. Let's move on to AEW. We'll kick off this conversation with DDP. Went on the record of saying, somebody said, if AEW asks you to get in the ring and wrestle, what will you say? DDP responded by saying he will do anything and everything that Cody Rhodes asks him to do for AEW. Now I'm going to tell you, I remember DDP coming out as a surprise entrant in a Rumble a few years ago, and he could still drop the diamond cutter, but I cringed every time because I was worried whether or not he was going to be able to get back up.
Well, I mean, I don't know that he could wrestle quite the way he used to. He's not in that condition anymore. And, but he could be in the ring every day and we don't know it.
True.
I mean,
It doesn't do anything for me.
you can hit a diamond cutter.
Just go out
Whenever
for an interview and hit it.
Yeah, it's not one of those moves that's so invasive
No.
that as you age you could no longer do it and you need to find something else to do. Like let's age Ricochet
Oh, wow.
25 years.
He won't be wrestling.
Let's age him 25 years. What he does now, he's not going to be able to do it.
He's dead.
Well, that's a little dark. I'm not saying that.
So-
He could be limping. He could be on. I mean,
Casket.
He can't.
Uh, cut his mic.
So, also talking about Cody, though, they did announce this past week that they did sign a former professional boxer, Anthony Ogogo.
I'm sorry. What?
You heard it.
Did you stutter?
There's a picture of him there. There is Anthony Ogogo. They did sign him, so he is all elite. Cody says that is AEW's first developmental talent. So I distinctly remember saying AEW saying they didn't have developmental talent, which I guess was true
True.
at that point. But I distinctly,
So what you're saying is Kenny Omega was before his time?
yeah.
There you go.
So, but now AEW, I guess, does have developmental talent. But I'm assuming that because
But it was all their
AEW
idea.
doesn't have developmental talent, won't have developmental talent because that's what NXT is, that we won't see him on television anytime soon. Because then
Until
that
he's
would-
developed?
Yeah, until he's developed.
Yeah.
Because that would mean otherwise that you're putting developmental talent on your show that you don't have developmental talent on.
If Keith Lee
So-
and Matt Riddle are developmental talent,
All of NXT is
I'll take it.
developmental talent.
I'll take it.
If that's the case, then I have a tip for AEW. Can you
Get more of that.
Can you send some of your guys to NXT to compete with that developmental program, so they can learn to actually connect with their moves instead of whiffing 90% of them?
Yeah.
Whiffing.
Whiffing. Whiffing.
Now, granted, WWE does it
Good sound
too.
effects,
We
man.
always talk about the greatest whisper in the wind on the planet when Jeff Hardy literally whispered in the wind and Jinder Mahal still fell. So,
It's just so great. It's
So-
great.
I'm not even going to pretend that it doesn't happen in WWE. It does. The worst botched suicide dive from Brie Bella in the history of professional wrestling.
That one almost lived up to its name, though.
So,
I was
Yeah.
I was genuinely
She broke her neck.
scared. I thought she was
That was
done.
almost like Taker's suicide dive.
oh, the one
Yeah.
at WrestleMania 25, the last one he did when he landed on his head.
Maybe Bree didn't finish screaming. She yelled Bree Mod. She didn't get the E on the end
Yeah, there you go.
to turn it into Bree
There you
Mode.
You're welcome, Sarah. So,
Bree Mod! Boom! On my head.
Anybody get a chance to rewatch the tapes of Jake Hager's Bellator fight?
I do not.
I saw he kicked dude in the nuts, but that was it.
You can't say nuts on here.
So,
I'm just kidding.
well, too late. So,
I'm just kidding.
the fight actually got stopped for an illegal knee, which there was no illegal knee. That was the reason why the fight. Bellator's official statement was the fight got stopped for an illegal knee. There was no illegal knee. So yeah, he kicked dude man square in his gonads. So
Square.
yes,
No
well they
video?
probably are square now. As hard as he kicked him.
No video?
Can you find Nico? Can you? I'm sure you can find a video. Bellator probably isn't paying enough attention to pull our stream down.
Either that or they're grateful that we're showing it.
I mean, it is crazy that the last time WWE pulled it down, we literally posted we were in the middle of the stream. Within less than 5 minutes, WWE flagged it.
Yeah.
That means they were on us.
So, well, they're just on their product. So when we used it, they knew immediately.
No, see, here's what I think. I think Vince is a fan. And I think he's sitting there watching our show right now.
So the interesting part was, and I don't know why we didn't talk about this the last time. You remember what Jericho said about We the People, right? Mm-hmm. If you've watched Jack Swagger, Jake Hager, whatever you want, when he climbs into the Bellator cage,
He's still doing it.
he literally stands in the cage and yells, "We the People."
On his entrance video, it
Yeah.
says "We the People," like the whole thing.
So, like, why? I don't get it. It's dead, but I don't get it. No luck, Nico?
Jake Hager.
Did you really
Jake Hager.
search it by that?
Well, whatever. You
Did you really search it by
I just saw it.
I think I found it. I'm a man of specifics, okay?
I mean, Jake Hager nut is pretty
Not
specific.
even nuts.
No,
just
just nut.
One.
Just one.
That right one took a beating.
As I'm shuffling through this video, there's a lot of time of this guy on the ground after getting wrecked in the balls.
I think that was it right there that you just...
All right, go.
Make sure the people can see it. There.
Make sure we the people can see it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down. Got my back.
That one's close because it's.
I mean,
the way the ruling for MMA is weird.
So,
And it gets.
he got kicked. He got kneed square in the nuts.
Yeah, it's irrefutable.
Can
If
someone-
you look
yeah,
right
can-
here, you can see where
I mean, it's right. That's,
Yeah.
Dude, that's right down the middle.
yeah.
It might have been a little more favorable toward the right one.
Well, and I don't know that he was reaching for
He
the
was going for the.
he was probably going, for the inner thigh, but
Well,
that's
yeah.
not what he got.
So in Bellator, is that like?
That's a disqualification.
Yeah.
The face of pure pain.
Yeah, that's a disqualification. Well, I mean, I'm sure that wasn't an easy hit.
And that's what the cup.
We hope.
Well, they don't let you get in it without it.
No.
That's true.
So let's talk Full Gear for a moment because we're just 2 weeks away. We will not, no one in this group will be watching Full Gear. Yes, sir?
I have plans that night.
Yeah, we all do. We all do have plans all day that day.
Yeah, I got plans that day.
I might see if I can find a way to stream it in the locker room for the guys, though.
Oh, they're going to be busy too. They need to
I
focus.
mean, they will be. But what we've got on the card so far, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, we're finally going to get to see that match. Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz.
As long as they keep their tongues in their mouths, I'm good. That's a little annoying.
A picture for you. There you go. Look at that face.
And
Is his tongue in his face? As long as it's in his face and not like waving around,
His lips sideways. So.
that's fine. I don't mind that. He kind of looks like Be Real from Cypress Hill in that picture.
Yes. Adam Page versus Pac. If the AEW announcers could get it right, I'd be able to tell you which one it is, but they switch back and forth as to what they call him.
Let's just call him Pac.
So,
Neville.
or Neville,
Yeah, it's called
the man that not only Gravity forgot, but so did WWE.
Ooh.
So,
Damn. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
any of these four matches that you guys are excited about?
I'm kind of excited for Jericho and Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Jericho Cody. I'm also excited for the Pac Adam Page match because I think that one has the potential to steal the show. So I could give a rat's ass about John Moxley and Kenny Omega.
Really?
I just could not, because I think AEW's already that's a match that you could have spent a year building, and you're throwing it at folks for no reason.
Yeah, I feel
other
like
than
they've
just to
kind of
give it to
rushed
them.
it a little bit, but there's. Yeah, no, I'm not excited for it.
So, and there's still a chance that we don't get that match. So if you watched Dynamite last week, there was another incident with John Moxley and a referee.
Mm-hmm.
So AEW has said that they have responded and reprimanded John Moxley and also told him that the next time that happens, then he will be facing suspension. So there is a chance that either tonight while we're here or next Wednesday
We can watch it on the replay.
that he does something else, gets suspended, and now once again the Jon Moxley Kenny Omega match doesn't happen.
And you know what? Maybe that's their way of taking their time
It
and
might
building
be.
the anticipation.
And I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
If that's what you're doing to draw this out, to make people keep anticipating it, but not getting it yet.
But you got to be careful how you do that, I think, because if
You
it's
do it too many times.
if it's suspended, at some point people are just not going to give a shit. And
Right.
by the time you do it, it's going to be like, oh, yeah,
Finally.
finally, here we go. It's going to be like Sting versus Triple H.
It's where like
We got it 20 years too late.
Yeah, it was still a great match, though.
It was. It was. The memes that come out of that match now. Have you seen the one where Sting is standing in the ring at the end of that match and his hair's everywhere? And it says me standing with the boys realizing that we just can't drink like we used to. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
It's hilarious.
So,
Did anyone see the stipulations for, or I guess maybe the rules for the main event match though, that were released? I think maybe yesterday. For Jericho and Cody.
I did not.
So I don't know. I may be missing, but the gist of it has a 60-minute time limit. If there's no decision, there's going to be 3 judges who will pretty much determine the winner, and it has to be. I think it has to be unanimous. I could be wrong on that part. But yeah, it's pretty much if it's a 60-minute draw, the judges who will be like hand picked apparently. So I'm sure there's going to be some type of Hall of Famers or whomever. But
So,
yeah.
I gotta tell
pretty
you,
much saying it's like a boxing or an MMA fight.
I gotta tell you, I don't know that Jericho can go 60 minutes.
It may not be
I
a
was
good
surprised
full
by the
on.
length, Yeah.
He can probably do it, but the quality of what you're going to get is going to
Once you get past
quickly.
20, once you get past 20,
Yeah.
Cody's still young enough. Cody can do it.
well, Cody's in shape.
Jericho's half in shape.
He's not.
He drinks
He's
too much.
round is still a shape.
Round is still a shape, but he is
Chris
not.
had bubbly earlier.
Jericho is not in shape anymore.
It's fine. It's all about pacing. Ric Flair drank beer every night, but he could still go 60 minutes with Steamboat. It doesn't matter.
But it's Ric Flair.
It's ring conditioning. It's all that matters.
That's Ric Flair.
Andre used to drink a whole case of beer before he went out.
Yeah, but a beer to him is
Well,
like this big.
right.
So
Don't underestimate the goat.
I'm not
listen,
underestimating the guy.
yeah, I'm not underestimating Chris Jericho's abilities. He's still super talented. But
Still the only person to beat The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm
Same
saying
you take any of those guys his age, and I don't care how great a shape they are in, and you tell them you got to go do it for 60 minutes, it's not going to get pretty after 30.
no. I'm just saying that Chris Jericho now
You're not going 1,000 miles an hour the entire time.
understood. You're still out there, under lights, under heat, under pressure, whatever you want to call it, for 60 damn minutes, and you're not, by an athlete's terms anymore, you're not a spring chicken. So it's
No.
not going to. I'm not as
An old
excited to
rooster.
see this Chris Jericho for 60 minutes as I would have been even 5, 6, 10 years ago. It's not going to be the same.
I hope it doesn't go that long.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, just because there's time limits on matches and things like that doesn't mean that it's going to stretch out that far. But it could, I guess.
Okay. So that just in the event that there's not a unanimous choice, the majority decision will be the winner.
okay.
It's interesting.
It's Adam Rose.
What is this?
That was
Plus size Adam
Oh.
Rose. The guy that ate Adam Rose.
yeah. Now that he's gotten in the gym and started working out,
Didn't he go through like
rehab.
yeah?
He went through WWE sponsored rehab.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool, though.
Yeah.
That it was WWE that sent him.
Well, they've done that. I mean, they did it for Jeff Jarrett. They did it
They
for
do
Scott
it
Hall.
So many people. Yeah.
The worst part is they keep offering it to people like Jimmy and Jey Uso and
They
the
won't
Hardy
take
Boys,
it.
and they won't take it.
Well, Matt's good now.
Matt has pretty much drawn the line in the sand with his brother.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think you have to when you have someone that has issues.
Yeah,
Clear-cut issues, as Jeff does.
and he's refusing to fix it. So I still say that his career should have been over after the Sting match. But
In a way, I'm glad
it's so weird to see Adam Rose in a ring like that after seeing him on WWE TV.
To be fair, he was doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah, he was.
Oh.
Admittedly, he dropped. He was all the way down to 175 pounds then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
I don't think we can call this a rosebud. I don't. What?
No.
Not sure what you call that.
Anyway, not AEW related. I just thought it was interesting.
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah,
it was
did.
interesting.
You snuck that in there on us.
Yeah. All right.
It was testing our adaptability.
All right. I'm good with that. So that's going to wrap up. I don't have a Poke the Bear segment for us today.
Hold on, man. Hold up. Wait. Hold on. Wait.
Past two.
You haven't worked a day this week.
That's not true.
You worked a half a day. So,
half a day.
let me say it again. You haven't worked a full day
No.
this week, and you don't have a Poke the Bear?
You were
Nope.
slacking.
Nope.
Come on, man.
So this is not an ESPN segment. We don't need a come on, man.
He's too busy with other things.
We should have a come on man section.
Golden Stinkies?
So,
Right.
so
Benjamin Banks watches the show.
Huh?
Is Benjamin Banks listen to the show?
I don't know.
We should find out.
Should.
so
No, yeah.
anyways, that'll take us on to our Wrestle Rewind trivia, where for the first time Smokey Z is defending.
Probably not going to defend it.
Double K
left it at home.
never gave it to him. So Smokey Z's been the champion and never got the belt.
You want the belt? Come and get it, big boy.
I didn't hear much of a response.
Nope.
Because he doesn't want it.
I'm probably not going to keep it.
So, A-Man, you were absent last week, so
No.
Smokey Z did win, but you were out pursuing your dream. So,
How was that anyway? Give us a report before we get into this.
yeah.
It was very eye-opening.
Yeah?
Yes, I will say that. I didn't realize how important placement is. Like your feet, your hands, like every little thing, like your fingers, like it's just insane. And how bad the mat hurts.
It does hurt.
I'll just
It
roll
hurts.
off and they'll feel it.
No, but like the first slam, it's like, all right. So
I'm sure.
Did you not? I was gonna say, did you get the breath knocked out of you at all?
no.
Yeah.
But the first slam, I was like, wow, okay, it's.
So how was your top rope jump? Got to see picture.
Saw the still frame.
It was pretty sick. So
Did you
the first one
go
was horrible.
full
So we were.
frog or?
That's what we were talking about. So Dr. Tommy was like, "You look pretty athletic," and I was like, "All right." And he was like, have you ever done a frog splash?" And I was like, "I mean, like on a trampoline, like on like a stuffed animal." He was like, "Never on like a human." I was like,
That's
"No."
awesome.
I was like,
Love
"Just on, like."
It's not in my bedroom activities,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, and like I'm an only child, so like I didn't.
Hold still for a frog splash.
Not part of the extensive package.
No. So good to know. Oh, you guys.
So how? That's
I
it.
just-
How was it?
The first one was horrible.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't. So, for whatever reason, like my brain didn't think to like jump high and like actually extend. It just went jump high.
Oh God! So did you literally just go up and down?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was like, "What was that?" I was like, "Dude, I have no idea. I really have no idea." He was like, "All right, do it again." So I did it again. It was much better the second time. Then he wanted me to do a moonsault, and I was like,
Oh.
I can't. I wanted to, but
Nerves?
just not even nerves. So for me, I couldn't. My brain couldn't wrap around landing flat and not going to land on my feet. And the mat,
okay.
the padding is like this thick and it's like huge. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like. Not on the first day, and that's what I told him. I was like, if this was like maybe second or third time, maybe, but I definitely would, obviously. But
Yeah, doing
Not first
I've
day.
done like moonsaults on trampolines, and it took me forever to like land flat and instead of on my feet.
yeah,
I had to like keep doing it over and over again because my first instinct is tuck your feet in and then land on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
right,
like, I
right,
can't.
and that's what I told him. I was like, I know, like
You just got to kind
I'm
of
not
lay out and
scared
go.
to do it. I just like I would need to give it a few like practice
kinda
times,
like
and I
you have-
wasn't, you know,
It's kind of like you have to rotate a little bit slower.
right,
Mhm.
right.
But you just don't tuck.
Right.
Thank you, Buffalo Bill.
So
there's no lotion involved here.
Jesus Christ.
That was Nico's fault.
You know, I used to be able to do a standing moonsault. I don't know if I still can.
That's
Please
not.
don't.
Please no.
So-
Actually, let's do it. Here, grab that camera. We're gonna go outside and see.
You guys have a show to run overnight? You got time for that? Wait till that.
He's gonna be sitting for the most part.
So,
And he's dead.
Well, then he's gonna be laying down. Not like he's got to be on his feet either way.
anyways. All right, we're going to kick off Wrestle Rewind Trivia. You guys know the rules. 15 questions. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. So, again, I'll let you know if the questions are multiple choice prior to asking them. We're
Calm down, Dr. Dazzle.
we are going to introduce a new rule this week. If the group unanimously agrees to discard a question, then we will.
Yeah, because he asked one last week. I don't remember what it
None
was.
of us. And I even looked at him and I said, I wouldn't be able to tell you the answer.
Like, and he, yeah.
So,
Fair. Yeah.
if the group agrees unanimously to discard a question, we will.
All right, I don't like the first one.
So, I haven't even asked it.
I don't care. He said C.
So here we go. This one is a multiple choice question. Nico, you got the timer ready?
Always.
What type of match did Mabel lose at the December 1995 In Your House? Was it a flag match, tag team match, or a casket match? Double K.
Casket match.
It was a casket match.
Yeah, that's why I don't have a time.
All right, question number 2. Who lost in the title match at the December 1995 In Your House? Was it Shawn Michaels, the British Bulldog, or Mankind? Double K.
Bulldog.
That is also correct.
He's on the tail of redemption.
This one is not multiple choice. What is Farouk's finishing move?
I know what it's not. Oh, God. I'm just having a brain cramp right now.
Double K.
The spine buster.
That is incorrect.
Powerbomb?
That is also incorrect. First hint in 10 seconds.
There's only one person left who knows the head now.
That's true. I can't give you the hint. Hint is the name of his finishing move was derived from his group, the Nation of Domination.
That's all you.
It's a slippery slope, too.
Yeah.
Thing right here.
A DDT.
That is also incorrect. The correct answer was the Dominator.
Oh.
Question number 4. What is Ken Shamrock's finishing move?
Hang on real quick. Hang on. We'll come back to this question. Don't start. But what move was the Dominator?
I thought that's.
I thought that's what you were asking
It
for.
was the gut wrench where he takes him up on the shoulder and then spins him straight back down and drops him.
Okay, all right.
So we were looking for like the name.
The name of the move.
Yeah, I wasn't clear. Anyway.
Okay. What was the question?
What is Ken Shamrock's finishing move?
Oh. Is it
A
one of
man.
those things like the specific name? Because it wasn't it the ankle lock?
It was the ankle lock
Oh,
submission. Question number 5. What was Owen Hart's finishing move?
Sit down, pile driver.
Nope. That's what he almost killed Austin with.
Wasn't it
Sure.
the oh my gosh, the sharpshooter?
It was the sharpshooter. It was the sharpshooter.
No, I know. I almost said something that was probably in poor taste, so I pulled it back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Question number 6. Who eliminated the Sultan at the Royal Rumble of 1997?
I remember the Sultan. I do.
Was it Steve Austin, the British Bulldog, or Jake Roberts? Double K.
Austin.
That is incorrect. Amen.
Jake Roberts.
That is also incorrect.
Oh, well,
Well,
Smokey Z, there's only one left.
don't miss it.
I don't remember what the.
I'm not giving it to you.
that's a free point.
Gave you the answer, and you just
Oh,
still couldn't get it right.
Wow.
wow.
You had the answer key, but you still got the test wrong.
Ain't
Jason
that a-
Bueller? Get it together.
Something.
Oh.
You got 60 seconds to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not even giving you a hint because I already gave you the answer.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't really listening because I figured one of them was going to get it, so.
This is why you should never count your chickens before they hatch.
Never sell yourself short. There, Smokey Z.
That's deep.
That's what she said.
Why?
Because she did say it.
Yes, you can't be mad.
That's fair.
That's what she said. That's why I said it.
I can't even remember what the other one was.
Well, you got 25 seconds to sit and wait.
Everybody just stare at Zach and don't laugh.
We're kind of bad. Like, it's okay.
Is it okay?
It's okay.
Time's up. The answer was British Bulldog.
He failed a blood test. That's tragic.
Question number 7. Who eliminated Crush at the same Royal Rumble event in 1997? Was it Phineas Godwin, Steve Austin, or Bret Hart? Double K.
Godwin.
That is correct. It was Phineas Godwin.
I could have just said the second one.
Well, that was
Question-
the first one, and you'd have been wrong.
No, I'm saying that last question.
Question number 8. What was Cactus Jack's finishing maneuver?
Cactus Jack's.
That
Smokey Z.
That was a sit-down power driver, wasn't it?
Nope. Double K.
Double arm DDT.
The double arm DDT is correct. Question number 9. What is another name for Shawn Michaels' super kick finishing maneuver? Double K.
Sweet chin music.
Sweet Chin Music is correct. Question number 10. What was the name of Survivor Series in 1998?
What?
It had a subname.
Oh my god.
In 98?
I already know what my hint is when I get... Because I can see it.
Yes. It's so frustrating.
I don't remember. Honestly.
I was 2.
It's like it's
It's two.
I'm also going to pull back again.
Here's your first hint. The logo for this Survivor Series was a skull centered across 2 crossbones with 2 words written on the head.
I know. What were the words?
I genuinely don't remember.
I can see the logo in my head. That's
Well,
how
I can
know.
now. I can now too because you
I'm
just
so
described it,
frustrated.
but I can't get the 2. I don't.
The 2 words. I've got another hint, but it's not great. I'm telling you that now. All right, your 30 seconds remaining. Final hint. The premier rivalry that this was focused around was between Mankind and The Undertaker. Double K.
Buried alive.
That is incorrect.
Was it Mind Games?
It's also incorrect.
I have no clue.
So are you forfeiting?
Yeah.
Deadly Games was the name.
I mean, I had no
I
idea.
would've never gotten that.
Even with the hints, I didn't remember.
So frustrated.
It was.
All right. So we are at 5-2. Smokey Z, if you do not get the next one correct, you're officially out of this. As for A-Man, if Double K gets this one correct, it eliminates you. Question number 11. It is multiple choice. What word best describes former superstar Rick Rude? Double K.
Ravishing.
That is correct. Ravishing Rick Rude. Double K with 6 points eliminates A-Man for the rest of the competition with only 4 questions left. Actually, no.
Give me that back. Yeah.
There's 4 questions left. So she has the potential to tie.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Give me. Stop trying to steal my marker.
Question number 12. Smokey, you're out of this at this point. You had 1 week of glory.
Damn.
I told you I was going to win it at least once. And I did.
Question number 12. This is also multiple choice. What team faced off against the Perfect Team at Survivor Series 1990? Was it the Warriors, the Dream Team, or the 4x4s? Double K.
The Dream Team.
That is incorrect.
All right, then I know it.
What were the other two?
The other two options are the Warriors or the 4x4s.
It's cool because you can hear the clock ticking. What?
I've got a hint, but it's probably going to give it away.
Is this something related to wood?
No, that's not not what the hint's going to be.
Well, you wouldn't get that one.
All right, so
That's no true statement.
here's your hint.
Has ever been stated on the show.
Here's your hint. The team that is not the correct choice doesn't have a believable name.
Wait, say that again?
mean,
The team
That is not the correct choice does not have a believable name.
I feel like I need to write this down. The team does not have a believable name.
I felt like that was pretty clear cut.
I thought.
That does not have a
20.
believable
Because
name.
for
You only have two options left.
era, they're both believable.
Right.
For that era, they're both
Bushwhackers
believable.
and stuff like that. Like
That's
You
true.
got 8 seconds.
Warriors.
The Warriors is correct.
See, that's the most. I was thinking the 4x4s.
That's what I was thinking
the
too, but I was
Warriors.
like, you know what?
But at the same time, I'm like, in that era, you got Duggan, you got
That's
Ultimate
what's like, is it
Warrior,
gonna be stupid if I say the 4x4s?
and Dream.
Question number 13. What comedian did Jerry the King Lawler once assault on the David Letterman?
Shit. Oh, God, I got the first name. I just blanked on the last name.
I will need first and last name.
I know. God, dang it. Like, I can see the guy. God, I'm thinking. Oh, God. Andy Kaufman.
That is correct. It was Andy Kaufman. Double K now puts this out of reach for A-Man. That's going to wrap up Wrestle Rewind Trivia. Double K now, I think you're the first double-digit Wrestle Rewind Trivia champion, a 10-time
Hey.
Wrestle Rewind Trivia champion. Smokey Z, you didn't even have to forfeit the belt because Double K never gave it to you anyways.
I mean,
So he'll get
He was
to
just a sore loser that he lost last week.
to keep that title for another week. As for the rest of us, folks,
Give
that's
it to
gonna,
me for the week since I didn't even get to hold it.
that's might be fair. So that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Wrestle Rewind. That's going to be it, and we'll be coming back to you. We'll be resuming our normal showtime next Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Since tomorrow night, folks, I would imagine, are probably going to be either out partying or trick-or-treating. However, in our neck of the woods in Virginia, it looks like there will not be any trick-or-treating.
supposed to
Tomorrow
rain
it's
like
supposed to be
crazy, isn't
severe
it? Yeah.
thunderstorms from like 4 o'clock until midnight
yeah.
tomorrow night. So if you are going out, be safe. Take care of your kids and your loved ones, and we'll see you next week on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. for another episode of Wrestle Rewind, talking about the review of Crown Jewel, as well as the other week's happenings. As for us here at the team, as always, it's Tommy T,
Double K.
Amen.
Smokey Z.
and we'll see you next week live at 8:30 for Wrestle Rewind.